What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Two Game Podcast. I am Matt Primo, joined by Chris Norman.
What's up, everybody?
We are back with episode 145, and we're here to talk about some Xbox games. Games that we don't typically talk about because we all have PlayStations. But let me tell you, I'm super excited to talk about a lot that was announced, released, revealed during the Xbox Games Showcase this past week. So go ahead and buckle up, get your coffee or your Dr. Pepper or whatever the fuck you want to drink, get you a little snacky snack, and let's fucking talk about games for the next hour. We have a shit ton of games to talk about. This week, we're not going to do a playlist. We're going to kind of skip over that because I feel like the showcase just needs to be its own thing. That and I really haven't played or anything other than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which we can talk about for just a second, sir.
Okay.
Before we do the showcase. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I started playing it since you were on the episode last week. And let me tell you, I have found a new appreciation and love for that game because I fucking love it. I love it a lot. And I'm trying to 100% each area before jumping into the next area. And it's still, I'm getting the hang of like Queen's Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I savagely beaten two guys back to back with no losses, and I'm like, yeah, bitch, I just made you my bitch.
Eat that dick.
In this game.
Eat that whole dick.
My dick. And it feels good, you know? It feels good in a weird way. In a masochistic way, I guess you could say. So really enjoying Queen's Blood. It is a game that takes a lot of getting used to.
Yeah, it's very... I've played several... I've compared it to Gwent, because Gwent is honestly probably, in my shitty recent memory, probably the closest thing to it, but I've played probably a dozen various card games that were built into other games, and it's definitely its own thing. And honestly, I'm enjoying it more than I can remember enjoying any of the other ones. And it's really just cool because it's a deck builder, obviously. As you play more, you're going to get new cards and you're going to unlock new stuff. Your deck may completely change. Mine really hasn't seemed to, other than upgrading kind of my system with better cards, because it's just kind of how I feel comfortable playing. But you'll get to a point where you can just have 4 different decks rolling and you're like, yeah, these are all fucking good. Like, these are all pretty sweet. It's a lot of fun. So much fun.
So yeah, I'm trying to handle some side quests, but also trying to do some Queen's Blood along with it. And then I'm like, all right, I could finish this area in one night, in 1 hour. I could do all of this. And then I proceed to spend like 30 minutes trying to kill this one fucking Queen's Blood player. And it just kills my entire night. I'm like, I'm pissed about it, but I'm also not pissed about it because that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And then the more, like, I've had 2 or 3 of them that have actually beat me 2 or 3 times before I beat them, and you just feel so rewarded when you finally just kick their ass. Because it seems like if they beat you once or twice, when you do win, you win like 35-0, and it's just like, yeah, suck on that, you trash can, and your shitty dick. Give me your card.
I sent you the picture of the one. It was like when it finally fucking clicked for me, and I've won like 6 moves prior. Like, I had already won. They had no way. I had just taken up the entire board. But I was like, you know what? I just lost to you like 10, 12 times in a row. You're getting all of it. You're getting all of this dick.
You gonna learn today.
You gonna learn today. Yeah, guys, I just wanted to mention Rebirth for just a minute because I started playing it again and really loving it. Trying to get back into the combat, the flow of the combat, I guess you could say. And it's so fucking good. Just to swap back and forth between everybody and then build those synergy abilities, which is a lot more difficult than I remember it to be when I played it originally, because I don't get those abilities as quickly as I used to. So that'd be the only thing. I wish those came. I wish you could use those a little bit more often than you do, but whatever.
It's literally, man, it took me a long time to get the hang of it, but I'm telling you, it's just be in the habit of shuffling party members as much as you can. Like in Xenoblade 2, when I taught you how to like change your blades pretty frequently to build the stagger, not the stagger bar, but like the special bar to build it faster, to burn through rock specials and then swap to Pyra, burn through her specials, and rotate them. You essentially just do that with your all three of your party members, and you'll be surprised how fast the synergy builds up. You pretty much just have to cycle them all twice, and then you can at least do one.
That was a game changer for Xenoblade. I just want to say that out loud.
Yeah. It was amazing how much of the combat stacks actually depended on that, honestly. It took me a while. I was probably halfway through the game before I realized how important it was.
Oh, I miss that game so much.
Well, we'll get a new one in probably 4 years, so that'll be nice.
As long as it has Tyon in it, I'm okay.
Hope he's the main character.
I always gotta throw a dig at that dude.
He did nothing. He did nothing to you.
He did nothing but exist, okay? That's all he did.
He was kind of annoying.
So that's all I wanted to mention about the game that I've been playing for the past week. Been trying to jump into that, trying to finish that so we can finally fucking review it or deep dive into it, whatever. So one more game that we need to talk about before we jump into the Xbox Game Showcase. Promise you guys we're getting there. But this game looks really fucking good. So just go ahead and just let us be, okay? Just give us a few minutes. This came out during like the summer of Game Fest or something like that. It was during another showcase. I think it was like on an IGN or some shit. Black Myth Wukong. I vaguely remember talking about this on the podcast, last year, maybe the year before. I don't really remember. I do remember the fact that it has the monkey dude in it. And he is the Monkey King from Journey to the West, which is one of the 4 great classical novels of Chinese literature. He kind of looks like Peter from Jumanji, if I had to be completely honest with you. It comes out August 20th. It's going to be on PS5 first, and then it's coming on Xbox later. So, you're playing as the Monkey King, and this is... I'm going to see if this is something that's going to interest you there, Chris, because I feel like the story kind of like, oh, that kind of sounds fucking dope, to be honest with you. So, you play the Monkey King. You're born on a mountain from a stone egg that gets created from the combination of heaven and earth when they combine together. He decides to travel the world to find Tao, which is an understanding of the universe in Chinese religions and philosophies. Basically, he wants to become immortal and he wants to become a god. But during that trek, during that odyssey, he becomes like overconfident. Now, this is the actual like story to Journey to the West, not necessarily what the game is going to portray. He becomes like overconfident and he becomes a little cocky. And then basically the god says, he gives him a big old fucking middle finger and basically puts a mountain on top of him for years or some shit like that. And then he gets like reborn or he gets let go, some shit like that. And now he's more like reserved. He understands like the his fuck ups in the past, so to speak. And he goes on another journey or something along those lines. That's kind of what Journey to the West is about. So this game is borrowing from that story. Your primary weapon is a staff, basically using speed and precision to take down enemies, but you can also use other weapons, other abilities, spells, magic vessels, equipment, and transformations. I saw at one point he transformed into like a bee or some shit like that, a bird. And you can use that to build like a strategy and combat style that you prefer. Not necessarily open world. I'm guessing it's going to be more like Rebirth, where it's like huge ass open areas. So Black Myth Wukong, watched a few minutes of I think they have like 20 minutes of gameplay out on like YouTube. And it looks pretty fantastic. Not going to lie, sir. It looks pretty fantastic. It has a little bit of a Souls-like aspect and look to it. So I don't know how difficult the game is going to be. I assume it's going to be difficult.
I mean, yeah, I'd play the shit out of it. I would need to see the combat first. Obviously, I'll check that video out and just kind of see what the gameplay and the environment looks like. But just from hearing the plot lines and the story beats, it sounds pretty cool. I can get on board.
Yeah, I have this itch for like a Chinese or Japanese based game. You know, Neo 2 had that itch. Ghost of Tsushima scratched that itch for me. And we're gonna be talking about Ghost of Tsushima later on this episode. So just keep that in mind. So I'm hoping this doesn't have like the Sekiro, you need to parry in order to fucking, win all these fights and shit. I would be okay for a little bit easier of experience, but hey, as the Souls fan in the group, I will, if I have to, I'll play it, okay? If I have to.
If I have to. If I have to jump on that grenade, I guess I'll do it. That sounds pretty sweet, honestly.
All right. Yep. All right. Now we're here to what you are here for, and that is the Xbox Games Showcase. What did you think about the showcase overall, sir? Overall, not necessarily mentioning what game stood out, but just, did it tingle your jingle? Did it make you flaccid? What the fuck did it do for you?
Honestly, man, I mean, yeah, it did. It's kind of weird to say because I'm not an Xbox guy anymore. I have a PlayStation and a Switch. And so normally I get more excited about a PlayStation showcase or a Nintendo Direct, but this, just as far as a lineup of games and what I saw, it blew anything else that I've seen recently just completely out of the water. I mean, and I know we're not going to talk about all of them, but one point that I would like to make is that I really didn't see any particular game that looked bad. Like there were several that I knew I was never going to play, and there were some that I knew like that probably just wouldn't be for me. But as far as the presentation, every single installment was presented very well. It seemed like the previews that they threw together just gave you enough of each game to understand what it's about and understand how it's going to play and to actually let you know, is this going to be for me or is it not going to be for me? I think that's a big problem with a lot of these showcases is you just, how many times have we said, that one looks kind of captivating or interesting, but I'm going to need to see more of it when it gets a little closer. Like, I was pretty much able to make my mind up on all of these just from the snippets that I got. And, I don't know. I thought the pacing was done very well in it as well. Like, every few good ones, there's one that's like, well, that's all right, but it's not for me. But then it was right back into the next one, like, oh, that shit looks cool as hell or dope as fuck. Like, I don't know. It was a very, very well put together showcase, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought this was the best Xbox showcase that we've had in a very long time. I want to say you came on the episode, late last year when we talked about the last showcase. And I remember my biggest criticism of that showcase was all of these games look the fucking same.
Mm-hmm.
One, they look the same. Two, you're not giving us a whole lot of gameplay. Okay, you're really just giving us CGI cinematics. And it's hard to, like you said, I need to see more. So it's hard to get an opinion on a game when all you're really showing us is a little animated trailer.
Right.
This, I thought, blended that a lot better. They showed gameplay, but they also showed some cinematics as well in there. It was a good blend of both worlds, enough for you to say, okay, like I'm definitely interested in this game. And like you said, there were several games in there that I'm like, that's not for me. That's not for me. Looks good, and I think a lot of people are going to find that to be a lot of fun, but
right.
That's not a game that I typically would go play. But when I tell you, I have a huge list of games that I have some sort of intrigue in, whether it's I am fucking diamond status, I'm half chub, or intrigued by, and I want to see more. There are a lot of games here that were shown, and they were done very, very well in the presentation, like you said. But I know when I was watching some of the first, I think some of these games look the same, and I think it's the art. It's either the art design or the fucking color palettes that they're using in conjunction with the cinematics in their trailer, and it's making them look the same in terms of the art design. I don't know if you got that same kind of overall feeling, but it was a lot better than the showcase that we had last year in terms of, oh, okay, this game, none of these games look exactly the same. It's a lot less than it was last year.
Yeah, I do. I think you're always going to get a little bit of that to an extent with reveals and showcases like this because some of these are console specific. So I think a lot of these companies just they do what they know they can do with the graphics cards they have in the consoles that they're making these games for. So to try to optimize what the machine is capable of versus what you want to give to the consumer to play, they want to do the best that they can possibly do. So I think a lot of times the best that they can possibly do is going to be comparable. Like the best that Bethesda can possibly do environment wise is probably going to in some way be comparable to the best that the Xbox Game Studios can do. You know, so I think with console specific games, whether it be Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft, they're just going to look kind of similar to an extent because they want to be ahead of the game. So they're just maximizing whatever they can do with whatever they got. And it just all kind of comes out bubbled, I guess.
I'm really getting tired of the whole, and this is going to sound like I dislike Arcane, but you know the TV show off Netflix?
Yeah, can't wait for the second season. You better watch what you're about to say, man.
No. This is not about Arcane in general.
It does have
Calm
a very
down, calm
it
down.
does have a very specific look. I'll give it to you.
So if you take those colors, that color palette from Arcane, and the design of those characters and whatnot, a lot of these trailers had that same look. And it's just like, okay, I don't mind it from Arcane because Arcane, I don't know, I'm not saying they did it first, but they did it the best, I guess. To me, it's just like when I see one trailer and another trailer and another trailer and another trailer, I'm like, okay, guys, I get the fucking point. Arcane's fucking art design and color palette looked fucking fantastic. We don't need to make everything like this.
First world problems, bro. Yeah,
Right.
I guess it's because I'm a Nintendron and every single Nintendo installment looks like every other single Nintendo installment, so I just don't give a shit. I'm like, yeah, that looks cool. I could do that. That looks pretty sweet.
That's fair. All right, so let's talk about some games. Okay, sir?
All right.
Let's talk about give me a game that not necessarily like let's just talk about a game first that just piqued your interest. Okay, you might need to see more. Let's kind of ease into the showcase a little bit with the people here, and give me a game that you're interested in. You might need to see more of.
For interested but might need to see more, I'm actually going to go with South of Midnight. I didn't really know what to make of this when the preview started, but it's clearly set in, I guess, the Louisiana swamp. I don't know, but you are the main character. She was like riding a giant catfish that was talking to her, and they were like trying to do something to like distract a giant alligator. So I don't know if it was like post-apocalyptic or just a complete fantasy world with a bunch of weird ass swamp creatures and monsters or whatever. But the art style was kind of cool, and the only thing it really gave you is what I'm assuming is maybe like a 5-minute clip of actual in-game, footage and gameplay. But I really do want to see more to know what it's about. Like, I want to know if it's like a full-on survival game. I want to know if it's like a magic-style game. And I don't know, the graphics looked incredible for what they were trying to do, honestly. So, like, it's kind of like, am I invested in that plot? Not really. But it's something that I haven't seen probably ever. Just the way that it looked and what you were trying to accomplish in that tiny little window. So I am curious to see more of that one. I think if it's like a 12 to 14 hour kind of like Hellblade style playthrough that's just kind of a short compacted story in a world that you've never seen before, I think it has potential. But I'm going to be kind of put off or turned off by it if they try to make it like some full length, full on like magic based RPG or whatever, because I don't think the environment that I saw could support that. But I'm curious to find out what it is.
I need to look at that game a little bit more.
It was weird.
I'm gonna be honest.
It was very weird.
I remember the catfish, but I need to rewatch the trailer.
Yeah.
For that. All right, so I'm going to give you a game that I'm going to be completely honest. I'm intrigued by it. May not play this because I feel like this is going to end up being one of those. I feel like it's going to be one of those live service games, kind of like Fortnite, some shit like that. So I usually get turned off by those kind of games because I'm not interested in the microtransactions and getting killed by fucking 12-year-olds that are just so much better at these games than I am.
Yep.
Or the guy that's eating Cheetos and his whitey tidies in his mom's basement, I don't have time for
and
that.
still slaughtering me.
And still,
Cheeto dust just fucking everywhere.
just Cheeto dust on my face.
Yes.
That's all it is. Fragpunk. It is
yeah.
a 5v5 hero card shooter. You have ability cards, and it has fast-paced gunplay. It has a 2025 release date. Not gonna lie, it looks like a lot of fun. It has this cyberpunk feel to the art design. I'm intrigued by the gameplay loop more so than anything because you collect cards and then you use them during matches to kind of like change the rules during the match. Like one of the cards was like change all your enemies to fat heads to make it easier to do like headshots, which pretty fucking cool.
That is kind of cool, yeah.
And then you have something more simple where you just flip the world upside down with that card. So yeah, like I said, it seems like a live service game, and if that's the case, I'm not gonna play it. But if it has like a story mode or like a single player option to it, I know it's 5v5 on the actual trailer. But if there is some other kind of mode to it for me where I don't want to die all the fucking time to Cheeto dust and shit like that, then I might check this out. It really depends on what type of game it is underneath the actual gameplay loop, whether it's live service, whether it's just an online action shooter. I don't know, but it's interesting. I would recommend y'all go check it out. All right, give me another game. Just another game, just whatever you want.
I'm going to go ahead and do another one that I'm going to need to see some more of. And that is, I feel like I'm throwing this one out there kind of fast, but I am going to need to see more of it. So it's Fable. The hype from when I was a child still exists, and we've been down this road before. The preview looked cool as hell. The story sounds like it's going to be a really cool story, but I'm worried that my nostalgia from being like 11 is going to just automatically make this one suck because it's not going to be any fun because all I'm going to want to do is go back and play the old one. But it was enough to get me excited, but it wasn't enough to just lock in all the hype that's been building up for like 17 years now. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what this turns into, and if it shows any signs of being just as good or better than the one that I played so long ago, then I might buy an Xbox. Because when I tell you I played the shit out of Fable, I played the shit out of Fable.
I've never played it.
Oh my god, dude, so good, so good. And it
never fucking played it.
Might be trash, honestly. Might be trash. Haven't played it in probably 20 years, but it was real good back then.
So yes, this trailer focused on Humphrey, who is a retired hero, as he warns us about what it takes to survive in this new magical world. It's supposed to be coming out next year. I have no attachment to the series. It looks like it could be a lot of fun. I have this huge itch, and I don't know of a game recently. What was that one game that came out back in like January or February that I talked about? Yeah, Grand Blue Fantasy, Relink. I thought that had the huge itch where I could get like this fairy tale, SAO guild like vibes where I could just go on side quests, do stupid shit with my friends, that kind of shit. And it just gives me that SAO feel, when they go into like the MMO RPGs and they just sit around and fucking just do shit. Like that's kind of what I want. And I feel like this could scratch that itch, so to speak, with like side quests and just being lost in the world and whatnot. The key and the thing that I'm worried about is watching the gameplay on this trailer, will the gameplay and combat get repetitive? Because they didn't show us a ton in terms of the actual gameplay. So that's be the only thing that I'm intrigued by the game. I'm interested in it. I'm gonna be completely honest. I do a video game podcast, so I probably would be dumb if I did not play this game when it comes out.
Touche.
But in terms of my interest right now, it is like okay, like I want to see more for sure, but you don't have me 100%, kind of like you.
It really just depends on how they relaunch the series, man. If they keep it like decent story with fun combat and just hilarious dialogue, I'm just 100% there for it. But if they try to make it darker and more sinister and just kind of go with the typical evolution of how Middle-earth games have gone, I guess, then I don't know, it could just be any other game. I don't know. But I'm telling you, man, the old ones, that was like playing Grand Theft Auto on your way to Mordor. Like, that shit was so fun.
Yes. Yeah, that's the itch that I'm looking for, man.
Yeah.
That's the itch that I'm looking to scratch.
So fun.
So I'm going to mention some DLC. Just one DLC out of all the games that got announced, and that is Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. I still haven't beat Diablo 4. I've been busy playing other games. This is the first expansion DLC. Is released on October 8th. You're playing as Neyrelle, who is infected by a crystal and ends up being trapped in this like flesh-looking like cave or some shit with a huge-ass fucking demon in the background that looks a lot like the Queen Xenomorph from Aliens. I stand by that. This takes us to a new region south of the sanctuary called Nahantu. It's a jungle-like setting that was in Diablo 2 back in the day. We are going to get a brand new class called Spiritborn. They use spirits within the ancient civilization to bolster their own martial power. There is a Diablo 4 showcase happening July 18th where Blizzard is going to go more in depth on the class itself and the abilities that you can use. They didn't really show any gameplay. The cinematic trailer looked fucking great, as per the normal when it comes to anything that Blizzard does. So take that for what it is. But that's all I wanted to mention about Diablo 4, just to let y'all know that there is an expansion DLC coming out in the near future.
I tell you one that actually looked kind of cool to me, and I've never played any of these installments before, but I don't know, and I can't really even explain why, but this particular preview caught me, and that is Life is Strange Double Exposure. So, I don't know how the gameplay works in these, because I've never played them, and honestly, in the past I've seen them and been like, that could be interesting, but this one I kind of really want to play. So you are apparently the character, you are swapping back and forth from universe to universe, parallel universes, and in one of them, your best friend has recently been murdered, and in the other one, she is still alive. So you are trying to use evidence and timelines throughout both universes to solve her murder, with her helping you. So, I don't know, it just sounded really cool in concept. It seems like one of those things that could have a lot of cool cutscenes and have me feel like I'm more watching a series on Netflix than playing a game. But at the same time, like, I want to know what happens. So, like, I feel like I could definitely play that and be into it. The plot sounded pretty sweet. And cinematics look great, too. But I guess that's just new consoles. We just gotta get used to saying that.
That game sounds very strange.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Little dad joke for everybody. Look, I'm not ashamed by it, okay? Go fuck yourselves.
If it was anybody but me, they probably wouldn't give you credit for it, man. Just saying.
Right.
Walking a thin line there, buddy. But I appreciate it.
All right, so I'm going to mention a game that I was pretty excited to see more from. And I think this, I don't want to say it killed my excitement for it, but I definitely 100% need to see more. And I'm probably going to need some reviews or some shit like that. Just kind of put this disclaimer out there before I even talk about it and before people come in the comments and shit like that. I'm going based off this trailer with no prior knowledge of any of the previous games. Okay? I've never played a Dragon Age game. I know Dragon
I knew that's
Age
where this was
Inquisition
going.
came out. Dragon Age Inquisition came out in 2014, and it was a Game of the Year contender. A lot of people had it as the number one game for that year, right? So a few minutes ago, I mentioned, and again, don't come in the fucking comments for me, okay? It has this Fortnite arcane-like vibe to it that is really fucking turning me off. And if you go back and you watch some gameplay from Inquisition, it has like this dark fantasy vibe to it. Now, granted, there are still vibrant colors in that game, but it's not to the extreme that we saw in this trailer. Now, Dragon Age was called something else before it was called something else. It wasn't called the Veilguard when it originally got released. So now we're getting these very, very vibrant colors, and again, reminds me a lot about Arcane. And it just, I'm kind of perplexed by it, honestly. If you go from Inquisition to this game, they just look vastly different, especially in terms of the like the character designs and the art design of the actual game itself. Look, this is on my radar. By all means, this is on my radar, and I'm going to be following along with it. And again, I do a gaming podcast, so I'm probably against my better judgment. I may end up playing this, but I need to see more from this. 100%. This was the most question mark game of the actual presentation that I have, because I went into it and I was like, oh man, I'm excited to see more from this Dragon Age shit, because I kind of want to try it with how much everybody talked about Inquisition being so good. And then I saw this trailer and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I want to play that. I don't know if I'm gonna like that. But I'm gonna reserve my thoughts and opinions for the game when it gets a little bit closer to the reveal date. But what did you think about Dragon Age?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So like once a year, we just have an exponential difference of opinion on something. And I didn't expect it to be Dragon Age Veilguard, but you know what? Fuck it, let's go. Dude, this game looked awesome. Like I'll give you the arcane look, but again, I just think that's going to be the new normal for a couple of years, because the animation in that show just wiped everything else off the map. But you're introduced to essentially what's probably going to be most of your party in the trailer. The combat is probably just going to be gruesome and exciting. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how the builds are going to work based on all the differences that I saw in the party members they introduced. The cinematics, character design or not, I thought looked great. And people have been waiting on Dragon Age for a long time. So I know that a lot of thought, a lot of money, and a lot of time has been put into it. I'm freaking stoked to play it, man. I think we were probably like 12 or 13. And Curtis, I don't remember if it was, what was the first one called? Dragon Age Origins? Or Blood Origin or something like that? Maybe?
Oh, I have no clue. I don't know anything about Dragon Age.
Well, he played one of the old ones. And I'm telling you, he was all up into it, and I tried it myself, and it just kind of wasn't my thing. But also, I really wasn't putting the time into it to figure it out. But the following behind these Dragon Age games is like low key, super, super fierce. And I don't know, man. It looks sweet to me. I can't wait to see what it's about. I thought it was comically done. The trailer. I like how they introduced everybody, and the freeze frames, which I guess that's kind of what turned you off to it with the character names and the abilities and all that. But
yeah,
I mean, it wasn't like
I don't know.
introducing a lineup to a basketball team. They wanted you to see, they wanted to showcase the character design.
Dude, it was like fucking Space Jam in this bitch,
No,
okay?
it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Like fucking no, fuck you, it was.
I liked it.
It was like they would the character would show up and it'd be in like this huge like steel frame pose, and it was like, is this a kid game? Like that's what the vibes that I got from it.
No, I can promise you it's not going to be a kid's game. If it is, it's going to suck.
No,
But
no, I know it's not going to be a kid's game, but that's just the vibe that it gives me, especially with that art style and everything, the color palette. I don't know, man. Again, I've never played Dragon Age, so if my opinion is wrong, it's fucking wrong. Okay, I will completely own it, and I might be talking out of my ass here.
it's not like either one of us know anything about it other than the 48 seconds we watched of it, so could be completely right. I'm going to defend it till I learn that I'm wrong because I thought it looked sweet.
I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't expecting us to be so far apart on that game either.
That's all right.
But I stand by my Space Jam remark. I stand by it.
You can keep it. That's fine. Wasn't that bad.
So what's another game for you, sir?
This one I'm going to talk about because I feel like had I played the other ones, I would be more excited about it, but I kind of only want to mention it for one reason, and that was State of Decay 3. Zombie game, obviously, a survival game. I've never played State of Decay or State of Decay 2, but the trailer to this one looked more emotionally captivating than what I would assume the other games were. And if you're a State of Decay fan and I'm completely wrong, just I guess call me out in the Discord or just call me stupid to yourself. I don't know, but it kind of seems like that Microsoft is just trying to make them deeper lored because of the success of The Last of Us. In my opinion, that's kind of what I gathered from it, because it was a very emotionally responsive trailer. Like it wasn't a bunch of gameplay of you just walking around with a shotgun and just letting the apocalypse, giving it the business. I mean, it was an emotionally captivating trailer. Enough that it got my attention. But again, I would want to know, do I need to play the other ones, or is it going to explain to me what's going on up to this point? And is it just trying to capture the audience of The Last of Us? Because I don't think it will.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch the trailer because I remember, and I'm not saying this is right of me to do this. I skipped it because we talked about this game. I'm telling you, this is like one of the first showcases that we ever did. Like this was like fucking three years ago that we talked about this game. I don't remember the specific episode that we did it on, but I had commented on like Twitter when they said State of Decay, new trailer. I was like, this game didn't get released already? like we talked about this shit like 3 or 4 years ago. Like this is one of the first handful of episodes that we ever had on the podcast, if I remember correctly.
It was for the third game?
I know. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember talking about it because Carmen, that brought up the conversation with Carmen, who is a huge State of Decay 2 fan.
Okay. Well, Carmen, if I said something out of pocket, I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't know anything about it. All I know is what I saw for this one.
But yeah, I was genuinely flabbergasted that this game had not been released yet. I thought it already had.
Okay. Well, there you go. You should check the trailer out, though. I'm telling you, it was pretty deep.
Shout out to that.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
So one game, and this is good. This is going to be a huge game that was revealed in the showcase. Okay, and I'm going to again put that disclaimer out there that I have never played any of these games before. Perfect Dark. A lot of people call it GoldenEye 2.0 back in the fucking day. And when they say it like that, I'm like, how did I fucking not play this game? If you're gonna say it is GoldenEye 2.0, like that to me is telling me, hey, we went to this pizza place in Covington and it is the best pizza on the entire North Shore. Okay, I'm gonna go fucking check that shit out. Okay, like 100%, I'm gonna check that out. If you're gonna fucking put it up that high, because GoldenEye is one of the best shooters of all time, if not the greatest. So we get the gameplay trailer. It shows Agent Dark sneaking over and around city streets while taking out enemies. We have no release date as of right now. Again, no attachment to the series whatsoever. It looks like it could be a lot of fun. As a first-person shooter, a combination of stealth, parkour, and shooting, Seems like a lot of fun. I am not a huge, if you've been a follower of the podcast for any length of time, y'all know that I'm not a shooter kind of guy. I typically just suck dick at first person shooters. But it seems like it could be a lot of fun with the combination of the stealth, parkour, and the shooting. What did you think about Perfect Dark?
Oh, literally everything you just said. Like you said nothing that I can test. It does look like it would just be a lot of fast-paced fun. It used to be an arcade game too, like at the actual arcade. I think that's how it got.
Oh.
If I'm not mistaken, that's how it actually got started. Dude, one of those old timey ones that had the blue gun on the left and the red gun on the right.
Yep.
I think it was one of those. That would also be Norma's Pizza on Highway 190, if you're curious.
You know, a lot of people have said that is good, but they've also said it's very expensive. So it's like, so you're not the first person to tell me
it's comparable.
That's the best pizza place.
It's comparable to Fat Boys price wise. I mean, it's not like Domino's cheap, but it's not. It's not going to break the bank either. Oh. It's worth it because it's better.
Are we talking like, is it like New York style pizza, or is it like a, what kind of pizza would you be talking about? That's neither here nor there. We talk about that later.
I'll text you. Yes.
A little ADD moment. Yeah. So Perfect Dark, again, there are a bunch of games. Y'all have to understand. When I was little, we didn't really have the money for me to go out and buy games. I mean, we had the rent for 5 days from like Movie Gallery and Blockbuster. But I mean, those games were expensive to rent on their own, and then you only had 5 days to fucking play them, you know?
Right.
So I played a lot of N64 games, and I played a lot of the same games over and over and over and over again because, well, we didn't have fucking money to really go out and buy new games unless it was Christmas. That was the only time I ever got new games. So Perfect Dark was just never a game that I had the opportunity to play. But again, I'm not a huge first-person shooter fan, so I don't know how I'm going to end up liking it, but it looks great, honestly. They gave us a pretty good amount of gameplay from this, and it's definitely on the radar to play.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What's your next game, sir?
So I'm kind of with you as far as online shooters go. It's not my thing. I hate getting waxed by 12-year-olds. So it generally any type of online PvP, I'm really not going to go for. Well, maybe NCAA. We'll see if I'm good enough. We'll figure it out. But this one that I saw, Mecha Break. So it's Gundam Battle Royale. Say less.
Yes. Say less.
Say less. I'm good. I'm there for that. That looked pretty sweet, dude. The actual combat cinematics just looked epic. And again, I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be a campaign plus online PvP or if it's literally just an online game. But again, there's not really a world where I'm going to be able to be into that. But if I had the time and also an Xbox, I would probably try that shit out in a heartbeat. It looks so cool. Aerial combat is always tricky to do right, where the controls are actually usable and not just too janky. But from what I did see, it looked like it ran smooth.
The next game that I want to mention is, and we've already talked about this. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse with this. I just want to mention they kind of released some gameplay of this game, and we just talked about this like last week and the week before. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Gameplay looks really fucking good, man. Really fucking good.
Sure does.
The difference in style between the two characters definitely feels like they're taking some inspiration from like Ghost of Tsushima, which could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what elements it borrows from those games. If I'm going and following a fucking fox and going to something and I get no reward for it, then by all means, that's the bad elements. But if it takes the stealth approach from Ghost of Tsushima, 100% I am fucking down for that. I watched several minutes of gameplay, and it just looks fucking good. Like, I'm on board. I'm on board. Like, I'm definitely playing this when it comes out.
It did look pretty sweet. Oh, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Yes.
So
Yes. I really want to fucking talk about this.
yeah, I don't know if Harrison Ford actually voiced that or if Disney just has the AI rights to his voice now. I don't really know, but the dude sounds just like him. Like there were a couple
Troy
things.
Baker.
Okay, yeah, he was. Okay, good for you, Troy. Because if I sounded like Harrison Ford, I'd be doing a lot more with my life. But it looked kind of cool, honestly. Like, I mean, all we really saw was some like cinematic footage with a little bit of like environmental gameplay. But I'm kind of hoping that it's Uncharted 6, pretty much. Like, give me an Uncharted game or a Tomb Raider with Indiana Jones and the Indiana Jones theme, and 1000% there for that. That's really all I know
So,
to say
yeah,
at this point because I can't contain my excitement for what it could be.
it launches at some point this year. Original story, so not one from the movies, which is great. I'm on board with that because, you know, we haven't had a great story from Indiana Jones in fucking like 20 plus years. So it's time for us to finally have something good from that fucking IP. Am I right?
Yep.
I'm on board. When they originally announced this, I was a little hesitant because I think this got announced in the last showcase, and you and I talked about it, and I was like, hard pass. When this trailer started, very pessimistic attitude. Okay. I was very pessimistic about it. I was like, I'm not fucking playing this. Fuck that. And then the scene on the mountain ship happened,
Yep.
and like, you got me.
Sure
You
did.
got me. Especially after that Nazi rant. Dude, that shit was fucking, where he imitates Americans. That
Yeah.
shit was so fucking good.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, hey, this game looks absolutely phenomenal. I mean, kind of graphically, it looks kind of a little rough. The controls and animations do look kind of janky the way it's presented in this trailer, especially when it comes to like the melee combat and whatnot with the whip, and then like you whip something and you traverse with it. That aspect didn't look the best, but it looks good enough to fucking play.
Yep.
And like y'all got me. All right, I'm fucking playing this 100%. And I want a good fucking Indiana story, along with some, like you said, maybe some Tomb Raider or some Uncharted aspects to the gameplay. Like y'all fucking got me. Looks great.
Mm-hmm. I'd be there for that in a heartbeat. And I'm so jealous of this Troy Baker dude, man. I can't get over how much I wish I sounded like Harrison Ford. That'd be so sweet.
Let me rephrase that. I did not have jerking off to Harrison Ford's voice actor on the bingo card for this week.
Sounds like a you problem, bro. I mean, also, I didn't say jerking off. I said I wish I sounded like that.
Hey, you might as well have. You might as well have said it.
Do you jerk off to the sound of your own voice?
Don't fucking ask me what I'm doing my free time. You know, sometimes I just put the podcast on repeat, and I'm just like, yes, I did my best.
I did my best. Oh, God.
So we're going to do some fast-paced snippets here. Atomfall. It's a first-person survival action game set in Britain. So think Fallout Britain. After it's plagued by nuclear waste. Definitely a Fallout clone. It doesn't look like it has that, and obvious reasons, because it's set in Britain. It doesn't have that Americana feel to it. But I don't see that as a negative. I see them as trying to carve their own path. Looks like some magic's involved in some capacity. Very vibrant with colors. Yeah, I'm gonna need to see more of it, but I'm definitely interested in it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speed round? All right. Atomfall did look good. Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Can't believe there's 6 of those. I bet it's the same as all the other ones.
I love that you choose Call of Duty Black Ops 6 to be your just rapid fire.
Yes. Because that's how fast those fucking games come out and then go.
And I also love that you don't appreciate me enough, which is not a negative, to know that I'm not going to talk about Black Ops 6 for any length of time.
I know. That's why I said rapid fire. Let's roll. Also, sorry, Christian. I'm not coming at you. I'm coming at the Call of Duty franchise.
Did you see where that shit had like it was rumored to be like 300 gigabytes in size?
So we're getting a 12-hour campaign instead of a 6? All right. Cool, man.
All right. Look,
300.
if we're going to start ranting about it, okay? You got me on fucking board. We'll rant about this all fucking day, okay?
That was my speed round. That's fine.
No.
That's no big deal.
Look, it looks like fucking Call of Duty, okay? Like, I mean, it looks good. I'm not gonna buy it, but it looks good. And post Cold War era, I thought that was like 5 and 4 and 3 was Cold War era, but hey, who am I to judge?
Well, they were. This is the post Cold War era. they've almost caught up with history now, which is going to put them right back in the bind they were in a decade ago. Every game has been the same except for Advanced Warfare, because they wanted Advanced Warfare to do like the wall running and wall jumping shit because Titanfall was so successful at the time. Well, it flopped dramatically, so they just went right back to the well of what they had been doing and haven't changed it since. So, I guess I don't know what they're going to do when they catch back up to what year it is, but right now we're in the early 90s, so maybe 4 or 5 more games. Black Ops 11, maybe.
Black Ops 11. Oh shit! You know they need to do what. And I'm not saying that when Assassin's Creed did this, I'm not saying that it worked for it or anything like that. But I don't like the fact that games release every year, and I know that there are multiple studios on these games, so actually it's like they have like 3 or 4 years on the game. I get that, but I feel like they just need to take a break. Like, hey, let's go on a break. Let's see other people for a little bit, okay? Let's get our dicks sucked by some other people for once, okay? Like, we'll come back to each other by all means. But how about we let these games brew a little bit and let them cook a little bit longer and make them like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. Give them an extra year to work on these games so that they can actually make them, I don't know, good.
Yeah. Okay. Couldn't agree more.
We're gonna get so much fucking.
We're gonna get roasted for this one. You know, we're gonna get roasted, but that's fine. I said what I said. They have to slow down at some point, man, because like I said, they're running out of stuff to do. They're catching up with history. There's nothing left to piggyback off of. I mean, were they going to launch it back with Call of Duty, Genghis Khan, you know, bows and arrows and shit? Like, I mean,
like, you fucking show in that fucking era with a gun, and they're like,
yeah,
what the fuck is that?
Oh yeah, that's the repeater. You know, 100 arrows a minute. Just. I don't know. I've been shitting on Call of Duty for 15 years. It's probably because I suck at it, honestly. But it's also like, even when I had a short phase of life where I did play a lot of online shooters and I was pretty good at it, it just wasn't even the best online shooter at the time.
No, man. Like, look, I'm not going to defend Call of Duty whatsoever. It looks like the same game that's been out for like the last fucking 15 years. I don't know. And like you said a minute ago, Advanced Warfare is the only game that looks different. And that's because it was in fucking space.
It's because it was terrible. So. It was so bad, it scared them go right back to where they came from. They were literally like, all right, well, fuck that. Titanfall can have it. We're just not going to be able to do that, you know? Let's bring Modern Warfare 2 back for the 4th time.
Yeah, give me something different, you know? I don't know. So the next game I want to talk about is Claire Obscur Exposition 33.
Yes.
This definitely tingled my jingles. It looks absolutely fantastic. I actually skipped over this in the presentation until someone on Twitter mentioned that it had turn-based combat and it was kind of like Final Fantasy. I was like, hold the fuck up. Let me go check this shit
Shut
out.
the front door.
And let me tell you, they're not wrong. Okay, it's like, what if Final Fantasy 16 was like turn-based and then included time events and then like Devil May Cry, like damage combos along with it? That's what this game looks like. And I am 100% on fucking board.
Mm-hmm.
You got me.
Oh yeah, no, that was probably it. Well, it was my second favorite announcement of the whole thing, but it was fighting for the number one spot, dude. It looked so good, and the story sounds so simple yet so complex to me. From the 2 minute trailer, you pretty much figure out that once a year, God does a board wipe and kills half of humanity. So when it resets, a new team is formed to try to stop it before the next cycle. It's so simple, but has such complex differential routes that it could take.
Especially if it hits on the character moments.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I'm most intrigued by. Because we said this with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 when it came out. You know, because you only had a certain amount of time to live in that world. So what kind of character moments are we going to have when because they're painting a number, and like they paint the number 33. So anybody that's at that age of 33 gets fucking killed once a year. So 33, and then the next year it's 32, next year it's 31, so on and so forth. So they go on these like little expeditions. I say little expeditions, huge expeditions to try to kill the paintress, who is the god that Chris was alluding to. And then they, for the most part, have never been successful. So what are those character moments going to look like when you realize that, okay, you're on this expedition, you're probably not coming back from this. And if you do come back, or if you do survive somehow and get back to the world, you're going to die anyways, you know, because it's your age. So what are those character moments going to look like? That, to me, super fucking interesting and could be very complex and complicated with the backstories. And I'm down for that.
Yeah, 1000%, dude. Everything you just said. That's honestly, that was one of that I kept like, man, yeah, I could. If I had $500, I'd buy an Xbox for that, just so I could see. I need to experience that. It seems like it's something that's just never been done that way before.
Exactly. And I mean, we don't really get turn-based combat in like a Final Fantasy-ish format nowadays. It's more of just action RPG and shit like that. So now that we can get some turn-based aspects to it, dude, I'm on fucking board. Like, I think we need more turn-based combat in the world than we do.
Couldn't agree more. All right, let's see. I've really only got one left that I must discuss. So I think you probably know which one that is. Is there any you wanted to knock out before then?
Yes, so I will rapid fire.
Sure.
Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. It's a third-person action game that developers called or described as an explosive Souls-like. I was like, all right, I'll check this out. It's got a July 18th release date. And I don't know. I don't know. This is probably going to be a skip for me, honestly. It reminds me a lot of... You remember those trailers and then the game Forsaken that came out like last year?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
yeah,
I do.
It didn't look that great.
Nope. Sure did not.
This looks like Forsaken. And I mean... I do mean that as a negative. The art design feels very unoriginal, while the combat seems like it could be very repetitive. It's like gun explosions, and I don't know how you can make gun explosions look kind of boring, but it looks boring. And then it's a bunch of like jumping up and slamming down. And I'm just like, okay, I just feel like that's just going to get old very quickly. Probably skipping that, guys. But we'll keep an eye on it, just in case it starts getting great reviews. Wuchang Fallen Feathers, definitely on my radar. It's an action Souls-like RPG that looks really fucking cool. Definitely gives off the Sekiro vibes and even some like Bloodborne aspects to it with some of the boss designs. It has a variety of weapons, magic, and skills. It's set during the Ming Dynasty. You play as Bai Wuchang, who is a pirate warrior cursed with demonic blood. fucking awesome. Did you see the trailer?
Yeah, that one did look good. I forgot about it.
Oh, dude.
Actually, I
Oh,
somehow marked it off as if we had already discussed it, so that's on me.
she's cursed with demonic blood, and she has like this almost kind of like this Asta, when he goes to his demon form.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
it looked just like that, and I was like, sold. You got me, okay? You got me. So, Wuchang Fallen Feathers. Y'all go check that out.
It was like when Sekiro meets Hellblade. It's kind of what the preview reminded me of.
Yes. So one other thing, or actually, we have two other games that we're going to discuss. But before that, they did release or announce a new digital Xbox series. We have an all-digital Series X. It has 1 terabyte, all-white edition. We have the all-digital Series S, which is 1 terabyte, all-white. And then the all-digital Series X, which is a special edition. It comes with the disc, which doesn't make any sense because it's all digital, but it has a disc. Now that I'm reading that, I don't know. Anyways, 2 terabytes on that shit.
That is
and it's Galaxy Black, so
pretty big.
So you can watch a lot of porn on that. But
the whole internet.
The Series X all digital edition, like that to me seems like okay. That's a good idea because now you're getting the upgraded graphics and the power of the X, but now it's all digital and it's 1 terabyte. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to spend. I'm going to wait to see the price points on all of these before I make a decision because I do need to get an Xbox for a bunch of these fucking games that are coming out, and for Hellblade 2 that just came out here recently. So I'm glad I didn't buy a Xbox recently. Now that they're announcing new ones,
right? I think I should take 1 second because it's a good time to piggyback off of that. I think the all digital one is actually the way I would go, especially if I actually had a lot of time to sit down and put into the console. Because one thing that we haven't mentioned yet, and if you were planning on saving it, sorry, I didn't really catch that. I thought maybe we just forgot about it, but literally after every single one of these reveal trailers, a little disclaimer comes up that, and 95% of them said available on Xbox Game Pass day one. So it's like Microsoft is actually, they're making Game Pass worth it. Like, it's I don't know. If I did everything all digital and I just paid a monthly subscription, I don't know what what Game Pass costs now, but instead of, if I had time to put or play more than one full length game or in a month or every other month, and I could actually sit and just rip through some, I mean, it just seems like it's worth it. I don't know.
It's about $18-$20, I think, for the month.
I mean, yeah, you play one game a month, that's $50 you're saving,
Indeed. So the thing with Game Pass, and I think this is, you can have all your different opinions on whether this is right or wrong to put these games on Game Pass day one for the developers and shit like that, right? That's a podcast for another day. I do like the aspect that it gives you the opportunity to check these games out that maybe you wouldn't check out
otherwise.
Yeah. And the thing with like PlayStation Plus, which Game Pass blows PlayStation Plus out the water, I think. The thing with PlayStation Plus is me personally, I can go on there and do rapid fire with some games. Like there are several games I have downloaded to my console right now that I need to check out just for the podcast. I just want to play like an hour of, and I can do that through PlayStation Plus. Now, granted, like I said, Game Pass is 1,000 times better. 1,000 times better. So I like the aspect of a Netflix for games and the fact that you can play all of these games day one on Game Pass. That's fucking great. That's great. And like you said, you're spending $20 and most of these games are going to be $70.
Yep.
Steal.
I agree.
Absolute steal.
It's good on you, Microsoft.
What was the last game that you wanted to talk about?
That would be the final trailer.
No, the other one, which was these last two games we're going to talk about, the two biggest out of arguably the two biggest announcements for the showcase. We'll talk about the final trailer last.
Sure.
Doom: The Dark Ages looks really fucking good. Really fucking good. Granted, it does still looks like Doom, so that's a great thing. But yeah, this is taking it back in time to like the origins of Doom Guy. And Chris, you said you never played the 2016 version. Dude, it is so fucking good. The Doom Eternal that came out, I'm gonna end up replaying that, and I think I have it on my PlayStation now as well as my Xbox. I'm gonna go back to it because I talked a lot of shit about that game when it came out a couple years ago. That I don't want a platform. I want to fucking just shoot fucking demons all day.
Correct.
And I'm gonna give it another shot. I'm gonna give it another shot because a lot of people love that game. So I'm hey guys, I understand when I'm wrong. Okay, I'll go back and I'll give it another shot. Okay. But Doom: The Dark Ages looks really fucking good. It's taking it, like I said, taking it back in time. It has a medieval setting. He has like this furry Viking cape on that looks fucking dope. And he's got a fucking shield with fucking it's like a saw around it. And he's got an anvil, and it looks fucking dope. You saw the trailer?
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, I did. The carnage looked incredible. I mean, it did look like it would just be a lot of fun. Just fast-paced carnage. That's really all I got from it, with a lot of cool medieval chainsaw shields and shit.
Yeah, so this game doesn't look like it's going to be like overly different, like combat-wise, from Doom Eternal, which I don't know how much you can really change the formula for Doom while also keeping that core aspect, that core gameplay loop of Doom. Because I think it was Doom 3 that they made it like slow paced, and they made you. Is it Doom 3 where you had a flashlight and you couldn't use the flashlight if you had your gun out,
Right.
so it gave it more of a horror based aspect to the game. So they tried doing something different there, and people complained about it, and so they went back to the drawing board. I don't know, like I said, how much they can change this series up, but just keep giving me shit like this. Keep giving me new arenas to kill demons in, okay?
It did look pretty sweet.
But you should play 2016. 2016 was so much fun. I played that in Alaska when I was up there for the week and worked, and I played that in a fucking week.
Crushed it, huh?
Crushed it, man. It was so much. And I played it on my Switch, so it wasn't even like the best version of it.
Could probably get it on the Switch store now for what, $12?
I think it's on sale right now.
Oh, I'll check it out. Yeah, I'll download it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's close out this showcase with the final game.
And then there was one.
Gears of War E-Day. So before we actually talk about the trailer, let's talk about our history with this series, okay? And I'll let you go first.
Full history. Every single game, multiple playthroughs. Played online and all the ones that you could play online on. I have invested collectively probably 300 hours in this series up to this point in my life. It's probably a top 3 series for me, honestly, and I had no idea this was coming. So when that preview kicked off, and then the only thing I saw was a young Marcus Phoenix being thrown across the room, about to duke it out, I was just like, oh God, we're back, and we're back, and we're back. And then, yeah, well, we won't get in the trailer yet. What's your history with it?
So I am kind of in the same boat as you. I have not played 4 and 5. Okay. Did you play both of those games?
They were both good.
Okay.
They were definitely pieced off of the original trilogy, but they were both very good.
Or maybe I did play 4. I do. The girl protagonist she showed up in 4, right?
I think so, if I'm remembering it right. The final chapter in 4 was when you were manning the freaking Gundam thing. I think 4 was called Judgment.
4, did not finish it.
Oh, okay. I think 4 was Judgment, wasn't it?
No, I think Judgment was a spinoff. I think that was a different game
Oh,
altogether.
maybe. I again played them all. I don't remember the order they were in.
So 1, 2, 3 played those. I played those like fucking back to back one year. I played Judgment, and then 4. I remember playing it, not finishing it.
Okay.
I want to say I had it on Game Pass or some shit like that, and I played like half of it. And I will say this before I say anything negative about the series. Okay. I used to really, really love these games. I think, like I said, I played these 3 games back to back one year, and it was just so much fun. So much fucking fun. But I think that also killed my love for it, doing it that way, because when you play these games back to back to back, it just seems like it's I don't know, 1 hour, 150-hour game, and it's just the same thing over and over and over again. And then they change it up now and then, obviously, but it just seemed like I was repeating a cycle every single game. Okay, let me just go kill some locusts. Okay, let me go kill these guys. Okay, and you just move from stage to stage, right? So I didn't play 5 for that reason. And 5 came out 5 years ago. But used to really fucking love these games. Loved them. This would make me buy an Xbox.
Yep.
Day one.
Yep.
Would make me buy an Xbox. This is going to be a prequel game to the OG Gears of War, and it's going to center around a young Marcus Phoenix. You look at him, and then he puts on the fucking bandana, the little skull cap at the very end. I'm like, yes, that's it. But it seems kind of like they're going to go for more of a like horror feel to it, kind of.
Probably. That dude, that trailer was raw, man. Like that.
Shit was fucking good.
Yeah. It was, and man, when he's about to fall and just freaking Dom just pulls you up, man, I just had to pour one out for my homie, dude. Like that hit every emotional button that still resided within me all at once. I was just like, God, I gotta play this. I've got to play this so much. Like, you knew it was a prequel from the launch of the trailer because Marcus looked 20 years younger, but you just forgot all about Dom being there for all of it, and it was just like, God, oh my God. Fly high, brother. Fly high.
So one thing that I hope they kind of go back to, I hope when I played 4, it seemed like they took more of a serious route with the gameplay, with the characters and stuff like that. Like they weren't necessarily like the thing with the first 3 games. It was that banter back and forth between the guys. You know, they were all ribbing each other, making puns, and just having a good old fucking time. Right? And then it seemed like 4 kind of went away from that, and they went more serious. I kind of hope, with them being a lot younger, I don't know what their age is going to be in this particular game, but younger, dude, we got to be fucking cracking more jokes, okay?
Yep.
I'm all there for it.
It's called E-Day, so obviously it's about the first emergence, right? And I think when the first game kicked off, and this is completely off memory, I should have looked this up beforehand to get a better timeline. I think the Locust War had been going on for like 11 years at that point. So, depending on the time lapse between the first game and the 5th game, I'm assuming it's going to be a 20 to 25 year rewind. You know, I mean, God, it just looks so good though.
It's like 11 or 14 years or something like that. I can't remember what the timeline was there, but the fact that they're going back to the OG to when it actually first started, like, to me, 100% on board. And gonna be buying the old Xbox to play this day fucking one. And what's interesting is they had that storyline with Gears 4, 5. People were expecting Gears 6, and then now we're going back to the OG game. So it's like, why are we going backwards this time? But that's not a negative for me, okay? Because I didn't play 5, so I don't give a shit. So I am 100% there for this game.
5 was good too. I've never not enjoyed any of the games. I could see your issue playing through 65 consecutive hours of it because it is wash, rinse, repeat. But I love it. I just fucking love it. So good.
There's just something just amazingly satisfying about the fact that you can chainsaw something with your fucking gun.
Yep.
And as much as the gameplay loop feels repetitive, that never gets old. Okay, just something about chopping them in half with your fucking saw. It was just great.
Oh god, I really want to play them all now. I wish I could just get honestly at this point I would just get my hands on like an Xbox 360 if I could, just to play the OG trilogy.
I do have an Xbox 360, sir.
Might steal
it. I play NCAA 14 on there occasionally.
I don't know how I could find those games. Probably buy them off eBay. I did.
Oh, dude, no! Don't find them on eBay. They're worth so much money.
Oh, for real? Yeah, that actually tracks.
Yes.
Yeah, that seems about right.
God, yeah, I remember I bought NCAA football 14 at GameStop, I think, a few years ago. Or no, I say a few years ago. This is probably like 6-7 years ago. And I want to say it was like $70 at GameStop used.
Shit.
Yeah. So there are some people that have it on selling like eBay for like 100, 150, $200.
That's wild.
Yeah. But guess what? We got one coming out in a fucking month. So they fucking excited for that.
Just can't wait to beat Alabama 97-7. Right. I've missed that.
Oh shit! Going to the swamp and just absolutely annihilating the Gators. That's my passion right there.
It's shit I live for. I get that. That's the shit. The reason I get out of bed in the morning.
All right, sir. So yeah, overall, guys, Xbox Game Showcase was absolutely fantastic. There are some great games coming out for Xbox and other consoles as well. This wasn't just strictly Xbox games. So I'm very excited for the future of these games and the games that we're going to get because they look absolutely fantastic. But to close this episode out, what would you recommend to the fine people out there, sir?
All right, so last week I talked about, when we did our playlist, I talked about how I had watched the 4 precursor episodes to the new season of My Hero. I'm caught up with it now. I think there's 4 dubbed episodes of the new season, so my recommendation is to, if you're a My Hero fan and you're behind, don't wait. Just watch them. Just watch as far as you can, and then wrangle yourself in despair week to week from then on, because the new season is already just epic. So epic.
Mm-hmm.
Get on that.
Get on that. Shout out.
Yes.
All right. So we didn't have a playlist this week, but I did watch a handful of movies that just came out over the past week. And by the time you watch this review, whatever, those reviews should be out on YouTube or on Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm actually going to recommend Hitman, which just came out on Netflix. It has Glenn Powell on there. He was the guy that was I forget his name in Top Gun Maverick, but he was the asshole that saved everybody at the very end.
Oh, okay.
So this is technically a rom-com. Okay, I know that's going to turn a lot of people off, but I think it is good enough for dudes to just watch. Like it's not like your typical like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and shit like that, right? It's not that type of rom-com. So basically, he's like this professor at University of New Orleans. So all this is set in New Orleans.
Cool.
And he works like part-time for the police department, and he's doing something. Basically, they're doing a sting operation where they're trying to get people to buy Hitman, basically, and then arresting them. So something happens, and basically he has to pretend to be the hitman on these sting operations. So he ends up getting a feel for it, and he ends up like doing like research and really trying to make characters out of the people that he's trying to portray, and to really get those people arrested. And he ends up meeting a chick that wants to kill her husband. And he ends up convincing her not to. But then, there's where the rom-com aspect comes in. They get back together and yada, yada, yada. And that's how kind of the movie progressed. But Glenn Powell does a fantastic job in this movie because he portrays many different types of characters. Have you ever seen American Psycho?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
So he does an impersonation of Christian Bale in this movie.
A dude dresses a dude, dresses another dude.
Dude, it was so fucking good. Like when the card sequence in American Psycho, when they're talking about all the business cards.
Sure do.
Yeah, he sounds just like that.
Oh shit. All right, I kind of do want to watch that.
And I was like, that is fucking fantastic. So yeah, it's on Netflix. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a great movie. It's probably gonna end up in my top 10 at the end of the year. Just a very entertaining movie, and there's lots of sex in it, and that's not a negative by any means. Okay, I'll just leave it at that.
Nope, sure not.
But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for us. Links down below to all of our social media accounts, to our Patreon, patreon.com/2game. We would greatly appreciate it if you went there and supported us. Like, subscribe, follow, do all that bullshit. Really helps us expand, improve the podcast, which we would be greatly appreciated for. Chris, thank you for joining me, sir, for this. I was not expecting to go for an hour and a half, but here we are.
And so we did. Sorry about that, but thanks for having me, man. Had a blast. It was actually cool to talk about Microsoft for once.
Yes, it's great to. I'll leave this with a closing statement. It's nice to not have to talk shit about Xbox. It's nice because we've come on here several times and we have really just talked shit about Xbox, Microsoft, and what they're doing. I mean, hell, they had some studio closures, like last month or the month before. We talked shit about them then. The showcase last year, we talked shit about them because all their games looked the fucking same. And then the previous showcase, they had no games. So it's like we have just been shitting on them time after time. And it is just so nice to be able to say good shit about Xbox because that's where I started.
Yep.
I had a PlayStation back in the day, but I played Xbox 360 and Xbox One for a very, very long time before I ever bought a PlayStation 4.
Dude,
so
I never had a Sony product until last year. Like,
oh damn!
I'll take that back. I had a PlayStation 3, but I played like 3 games on it. Like I was a Microsoft guy, and literally until I was 30.
Yeah, I mean, I played every game that I could on the Xbox because the controllers were just the best, and they're still the best. Okay, I'll stand by that.
That's fair.
It's just it's so fucking nice, like you said, to be able to say good things. It's just very nice to be able to say good things about Microsoft and Xbox. It seems like they're on the right track right now, and with this showcase actually being great, I'm very excited for the future, for sure.
Agreed.
But guys, that is going to be it from us. We will catch y'all next time on another episode. Later.
Later, everybody.